Yeah. How is
It
your energy today, bro?
is well. It is
Good.
well.
I normally take 15 minutes prior and prepare, get my hot tea ready, and lay out my thought processes for exactly what we want to deliver. However, today I had a meeting that ran till 4 minutes ago. So my preparation time got down, but I still got my tea. So we are set.
Me as well. I've been calling a couple of you guys. I called all of the, or almost all of the amazing people who bought a ticket to Truca. So congratulations to you all. I'm gonna do one-on-one with you all soon. That's amazing. Today we got a lot of cool stuff to go over, but first, put up your beverage, what we got going on. I promise I'm going to stop drinking these bottled waters pretty soon. Um, Me and Andrew are getting placed pretty soon, and we're going to have a whole triple filter system. So we stop drinking the whole plastic sitch because we don't trust anyone.
We're going to have healthy water from a metal situation going on, poured into glass cups.
There you go. Rock and
Uh,
roll.
welcome, everybody. Leo, share something. So, several people jumped on and took advantage of the greatly discounted investment yesterday. And I've seen the numbers for our Truca event went way up yesterday. So, that's super exciting. So, congratulations to all of you. And I know many of you in our Freedom Life mastermind community and our other community, our accelerator community, you already have tickets. So, we got a bunch of you registered, several dozen of you actually, and I'm super excited for that. But Leo, share something that's been a breakthrough this week, maybe for you, some personal cool breakthrough that might inspire everyone before we jump in.
Yeah, one big breakthrough as my social media is growing again. It's up like 3,000%, which is awesome. So we got about another million views in the past couple of days. And what I realized is that the world actually is pretty small, especially with social media. You get to see all the people in different industries that you thought were so far away over in Sweden, over in Canada, all over the world. But they're right there and you can reach them all very, very fast. So then when we go back, when we're in our world, Andrew, talking to all these different people, and then we go back into real estate, we realize that we can really take over a neighborhood. And that's what we've done multiple times, is be able to take over a neighborhood. So I want to talk about that a little bit, but I'm gonna check on something real quick. I think my dog's having a little bit of trouble.
Got to take care of the dog, man. Well, welcome everybody. So I want to inspire you guys. And I just want to first off, though, say thank you. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. We decided we was going to put in this effort, as I've made mention, not knowing, right? And I want that to be a lesson as we have 101 of you on here today. So far, there'll be more hopping in. I want this to be a lesson for you that we don't know always what's going to happen until we take the leap. When we started talking about this, we literally said, let's take 5 people and bring them through this. And so as we jumped in, now the feedback has just been freaking awesome. More than 5 people have gotten deals already. And here we are hanging out with all of you on here. So I just want to say thank you. That means a lot to us that you're here. And it's exciting to me, more importantly, for you, because that's why we do this. And we do this because we know that the moment that a light bulb happens, a minor shift happens, that your whole world could change. The moment your $63,000 check, like Chris got, happens, the moment like Paul got when he came in, our team, Ahmed and Paul, both came in. I mentioned both of them because you know them. Both came in as students who invested in one-on-one coaching and then loved what we did so much, ended up teaming up with us and becoming part of the team. And so that's how the flow works. And Paul, he kind of got ruined. He did get a $39,000 check before he joined our team. And, and so all these things begin to happen as we build our snowball. So I'm excited for you being here. And I want to talk a little bit about something that happens. It's day 20 2. We are over a third of the way through this time together. It's unbelievable to me that we launched this nearly a month ago. And so we're looking and we're going, okay, some of you have taken massive action, and some of you are still stuck on first base. You still feel like you're hitting the brick wall. You've been calling, but you haven't got results. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about whether you got results or you haven't, how to change that dynamic slightly. So before we jump into that, let's get the energy up. What's your energy level today? Put the number in the chat.
1 out of 10. Something I see is that a
8.7.
lot of your
Very
guys' energy is increasing, as we're on these every single day. You guys are understanding the physiology. You guys are drinking more water. I talked to a couple of you yesterday, and you had talked about the morning routines that you guys are doing. You guys are up at a early time. You guys are drinking the water. You guys are moving your bodies. You guys are doing all these things. So, it's incredible to see your guys' energy. But one big thing is your energy speaks 5 times louder than your words. This is not just for the business, it's just for anywhere that you go. People don't want to be around you when you're very, very low energy all the time because you're going to bring everybody else down. And it's not to go against anybody, here who may have low energy or maybe chronic low energy. But it's just to say that when we really focus on that, we focus on how can we bring ourselves up? How can we bring our positivity up? How can we be around the right people? How can we drink the right water, eat the right foods, be in the best shape that we can be? Because when you do that, you really start to attract the right people, right? And you lift other people up. All of us want to add more value. The biggest thing you could do is just improve your own energy so you're not sucking everybody else's energy out of them because it's what happens like instantly. As soon as someone smells your aura, it's like done, out, gone. And it's the worst thing you could do. So when someone told me that in the way that I'm telling you, I fixed my energy right away because I was like, I do not want to smell and reek of bad energy. Just a thought.
Big one. So write this down. Number 1, find my niche. Find my niche. Number 2, my self-talk matters. Number 1, find my niche. Number 2, my self-talk matters. Now, I want to start out by sharing today because I was thinking if I could go back to 21-year-old Andrew in 2014, a decade ago, getting my first deals contracted. So some of you here are working on your first deal. Some of you are working on your 100 and something deal and everywhere in between. I said, what is the information I could give myself at those early stages when I was trying to get my first deal, when I got my first 50 deals? What's the advice that would be universally helpful? It would be number 1, find my niche. And number 2, watch myself talk. And I say that because when it comes to finding your niche, there is so much opportunity in the world of real estate. It's not about making money. It's about the fact choosing which opportunity is best for you. Because there's so many ways to make money. You hear people talk about fix and flip and wholesales and the BRRRRs and our favorite, the Bobslow strategy. You hear about Airbnbs and short-term rentals and midterm rentals, and you hear all of this crap thrown around, and it's a lot. You go, okay, find my thing and focus on it. We have people here who have 6-figure months with just wholesaling. Just wholesaling. Now, wholesaling is not my favorite business because you work and you get a check one time and you're on to the next one. Except there's times where an extra 5-figure check is super cool. So there's nothing wrong with that. So find my niche. There's people here who have yet to buy their first property, but they're on their 4th, 5th, and 6th check because they offered to add value by displaying properties for other people, by finding the lease option buyer for others. And so I want to dial in a little bit deeper on this and mention as you're finding your niche, there needs to be 3 things that you look for. Write this down. Number 1, does this get me closer to my purpose, my mission, my goal? Does this get me closer to where I'm headed? In other words, I said I want $100,000 a month. Is the actions I'm taking in this niche getting me toward that objective? I said I wanted 10,000 a month. I said I wanted 200, whatever that is. So ask yourself, is this thing going, does it have the ability to get me there? The answer is yes. Then number two, write down least amount of effort for most amount of result. Meaning, you could work, some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've put in so much effort into getting a $3,000 check on a wholesale deal, like I did on my first one. And you found after you wholesaled a deal and you got a $15,000 check, the 15K check took a lot less time than the $3,000 check. Sometimes that's how it works. So what's the least amount of effort for the most amount of reward or progress toward my objective? Now, for some of you, that's just going hard on calling sellers and contracting deals and saying, hey, I'm getting good at this. I'm going to find somebody else who can actually do the dispo for me. Some of you, it's the opposite side of that. Some of you are going to be focused on wholesaling, and the majority of you are going to absolutely build a portfolio with Boss Low. Now, the third thing is, this is the most important thing that I'm going to say today. Who am I listening to? Who am I listening to? That is going to make the difference. You're in the right place at the right time. And I know that you know that. That's why you're here. That's why you continue to show up. Our objective as we walk through this next few weeks with you, and then as many dozens of you are hanging out with us in Louisville in a few weeks, is to make sure that you're getting steps closer to your objective. I remember in 2015, 2014, I started doing deals. 2015 comes along. I said, hey, I've bought several houses, many dozens in Evansville. I'm in my very simple way. I thought maybe I'd tap the market, getting those several dozen properties. So it was time to expand my horizons. Not saying that was the smartest thing. There was plenty more deals left in Evansville. So I decided I was going to start buying houses in Louisville and in St. Louis. Well, I found in Louisville, started getting some deals, and I went and started to put offers in St. Louis. And I got educated from a local realtor who was well-intentioned, and I love realtors. And she told me, she said, Andrew, the way it works in St. Louis is you actually just have to go to the bank and get a mortgage. I said, really? She said, yeah, doing that debt takeover and owner finance stuff in Missouri is illegal. I said, really? And she says, it sure is. So needless to say, I didn't do any deals with her. I went and found an attorney who knew what they were doing, and they helped me close my deals that were in St. Louis. And so in fact, one of my partners over in St. Louis during that time bought about 150 deals on terms. And so I said, pay attention who you're listening to. Make sure you run them through a qualifier. Have they done what it is that you're looking to do? Is this someone who is speaking from a lack of knowledge or from experience? Because I've gotten so much advice. I've been told that we can't do private money. I've been told that we can't do terms deals in certain places. I've been told all of these different things. And we buy houses on creative financing, and our students do in all 50 states. We sell on lease option in most states, with the exception of Texas. I'm not an attorney and don't claim to be, but if you're in Texas, you know we normally sell on owner financing in Texas, although there is some possibilities for lease option, but that's another seminar for another day. So our objective is to give you great information that can give you the ability to go out and follow a script, follow a simple guideline, find your niche on finding these deals. I know people who are getting all their deals from just outbound dialing to Facebook Marketplace. Now, that's not my favorite. I'm going to give you a bunch more of my lead sources should we have time today and tomorrow if we run out of time. Before I keep going, Leo, what blanks do I need to fill in here before I share the next step?
I think you're getting it down. I think you're getting it down. Definitely focus is so important. And that's what he means by picking your niche. Really dialing in on what is it that you want to get good at. We only have so much time to develop our skills in certain areas. And while some of you can just go do a bunch of stuff and develop multiple skills in different areas, what if we just chose 1 to 3 skills that we really want to dial in on, chose one market that we really want to dial in on, and chose one strategy to dial in on? How many more deals will you be getting in that time? Quite a bit more. That's what he
Absolutely.
means.
That's huge. And thank you for always recapping that. I like your recaps. I'm like, oh, that was pretty smart. So what happens is I see people who get this. They see someone on this Zoom who messages 3 people, 10 people, or see me sit down and message 20 people and end up contracting a deal. Now, if you wish that would happen to you, DM your first 3 people and you contract a deal and make at least 10K. Type it in the chat, yes, or me, please. All right. Got to get the typing coming in. All right, good. Everybody's still awake. We got the yeses coming. Except, how many knows the law of averages says that most of you are going to have to message a whole lot more than 3 or 20 people to get a deal. Now, I heard there is a way to guarantee you win it at gambling. Who wants to hear how to ensure you win at gambling? A friend of mine taught me this. I'll tell you who after. All right. There's one way to ensure you always win at gambling. Own the casino. I learned that from my friend Marshall. All right. Now, I say that jokingly because when you go in, it's laws of averages, right? There's laws of averages. That whenever you are doing anything, there's laws of averages. That on average, if you door knock 2 doors in a random neighborhood on a random day, you're probably not going to buy a house. But if you look at overall and you say, all right, Rich and Craig are talking to, and I don't recall their exact numbers, but let's say 25 sellers to buy a house. And these people are cold calling and talking to 120 to buy a house. And we're using pay-per-click marketing and we're talking to 9 to 10 to buy a house. You take all these numbers and you begin to see, okay, there's averages. Depending on the quality of lead source, depending on my expertise on the phone and my ability to make the offer, meaning ask great questions, there's going to be a law of averages. So if it's not working in your area, number one, if you're in Orange County, California, I recommend you probably go try doing it in Ohio or Georgia or Indiana or Kentucky. Well, it doesn't work in Indiana, but if it did, that's a joke. Never mind. So if I got some people laughing on here, Leo, this made my day. I love that you all love my jokes. So thank you. I enjoy pushing things till they almost break. And it's funny to me. And then I love whenever you guys join me in my humor. So when it comes to doing these deals, our objective, if you're in Orange County, California, definitely go to a Midwest state, go to a smaller market. That's cool. But I've seen people who go message 10, 20 people and don't contract a house and say, this didn't work for me, or I got mostly wholesalers, I got mostly realtors, and my response is me too. I have people sometimes reach out to me online and they'll tell me, this doesn't work in my area because there's no terms deals here. And I always respond with, there's no terms deals here either. There's no terms deals anywhere until we learn to ask for them, until we learn what questions to ask. And so if we have Craig and Rich doing deals and Glenn and Carrie's doing deals and John Rooney doing deals and name who else I see, David Selvin's doing deals and Russ and Amanda's doing deals and Ahmed's doing deals and Beverly's doing deals and Mike's doing deals and several are struggling to do deals, then we need to go, okay, where is the point of impact that we have to improve? This goes back to finding your niche. Am I getting decent leads? All right, type it in the chat. Good leads. Good leads. This is going to be the key component to it all. Now, as you just seen in David's testimonial yesterday, he went, got a terms deal off of Zillow and assigned it for $19,000. That's okay too. But that's the crappiest leads. So you have to talk to a lot more sellers to get a deal. Good leads is where it starts. Now, here's the challenge. Until we've talked to a few crappy leads, we don't know how good we are on the phone. So what if we have good leads and we're not closing deals? We got to find our niche. I've bought houses on terms from realtors. It's not my favorite, but you can. I've bought houses on terms from wholesalers. It's not my favorite, but you can. And so my point is that if you're finding your niche, just because it's not quite working textbook perfectly of your messaging 20 people on Facebook, 10 message you back and you contract 9 deals, exaggeration for emphasis, don't give up or get discouraged or believe that it doesn't work for you. All right? So when it comes to getting these deals, there is a couple of things I really want to drive home to you today. Can I go with my squirrel brain for 1 minute? If I have your permission, just type it yes in the chat. And then I'm going to tell you about getting these terms deals. All right, I got the permission. So when it comes to getting these terms deals, I think it's very important that we keep in mind what our objective is. Now, here's where I'm squirrel braining up for you. This is what I wanted to tell you. Coming up in coming days, we're going to be asking one of our favorite closing attorneys to come on. We're going to be asking another interview with one of my amazing business owners. And we're going to be asking for several more people who are doing a ton of cold calling to come on. Glenn, one of our lead coaches in the community, he's going to be teaching a segment for us. Judy's going to be teaching a segment for us. You're going to be meeting more lenders. There's going to be a crap ton of amazing content coming up. So for those of you who are going, it's day 23 or 22, actually. It's day 22. What's next? We got a jam-packed, I don't even know how, I'm not even going to fit it all in our remaining time together. All right. We've got so much lined up, which is why we just have to spend 3 days together in August. So when it comes to these terms deals, we're asking the 3 key questions. What's the least you'll take on price? What's the least you'll accept a month? And usually we buy with nothing down. Now, know that there is not a singular box that it fits in. All right. And then I want to get into these technicals a little bit. There's not a singular box it fits in. So while we prefer to go directly to a seller and put nothing down, can we put a little something down if the house is a great deal? Absolutely. That wasn't a trick question, by the way. Yes, we can. Can we pay a realtor to bring us deals? Absolutely. Could we pay a wholesaler to bring us deals? Absolutely. So what's the common objections that we're going to face when it comes to finding these deals? Number 1, you can write this down. Most sellers want all cash and retail. Shocking, I know. Most sellers want all cash and retail. So if you talk to 50 sellers and they all said no, they want all cash, they all do, right? So we're looking for the minority who are willing to give us time. Now, there's a few common objections, and you're going to see this over and over as we do more live seller calls. You're going to see this over and over as you do seller calls. This is going to continue to repeat itself. One of the big objections from sellers is, I just want all my cash. That's the biggest one. My response is always the same. Got it. Do you need the cash for something specific? Or if you could net more over time, would you be willing to entertain that possibility? Right? Because if they need the cash for something specific, that may be a cash out refi and take over their debt. More on that later. If they don't need the cash and they're just, no, I just want to be done with it. Well, we can absolutely make that happen, because from the day they sell me the house and move on, they're done with it. They never have to worry about it again. So see how we're asking questions to get to the challenge. Another common challenge you're going to get is, does the loan stay in my name? My response is always the same. If there's a debt on the property, the answer is absolutely yes. Plain and simple. So I'm going to buy the house. I'm going to take over the debt from you. I'm going to pay all the closing costs. I'm going to cover your mortgage payment, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. You're free and can move on until I resell it down the line and pay it off in full. Now, here's one of the questions that you might get. I need to call my bank and check, or will my bank care? Now, there is technically, and again, I'm not an attorney, don't claim to be, not a CPA. Everything I want to say in the next 2 minutes is probably a lie. So when it comes to, that's my disclosures to make my attorneys proud. So when it comes to the lender finding out, I've taken over hundreds of debts. And my response is, I've taken over hundreds of these. I've not had a challenge. There is technically a due on sale clause, which means they can technically call the loan due when the deed changes ownership. Now, there's all sorts of beliefs around how to make that not happen, and including putting it into the land trust, which we can get into the technicals of that later. But the lender typically never finds out and just accepts payments. They want money, generally, not houses. All right. That's been my experience. In fact, my favorite one is remembering taking over a debt one time where the lender did find out, because it was a local lender, which, you know, Wells Fargo, US Bank, all of them, I've never even had them to notice. But when it's a local lender, and a couple of times when it has been brought to their attention, I remember it was a bank years ago in Evansville, and the gentleman called me, Mr. Larry, said, hey, Andrew, I'm going to need you to come down and move this loan over to your name. I see that your entity took ownership. This is before I started using a land trust. And I said, Mr. Larry, unfortunately, that's not how I do the business. I just buy it. I've taken over from the seller. I'll continue to send you payments every month. He said, okay, just understand, I need you to have it in your name. And I said, I got it, but that's not in my business model. About 6 months goes by. I get a call from Mr. Larry, and he says, hey, Andrew, I need you to come down and put this loan in your name. And we had the same discussion. And he said, okay, I understand. I just have to tell you this. Another 6 months goes by. So it's been 18 months. And I answered the phone. I said, Mr. Larry, I said, let me guess, you're calling to let me know you need this loan in my name. And he said, no, actually, I'm calling you because the guy who you bought that house from has another one, and I want to see if you'll take over it like you did this last one. I said, well, send me the numbers. I'm open to it. And he said, and since we're on the phone, I am supposed to tell you, because it's been 6 months, I need you to come down and put this loan in your name. I said, you are aware that that's not going to happen with this one or the next one, aren't you? He said, I understand, but I've got to tell you. And I said, okay, fair enough. So we bought another house thanks to a lender who found out. Now, is that everyone's experience? It's not. I'm just sharing what happened to me. In fact, that guy actually gave me my first commercial loan on my first commercial property. So a lot of fun things. I have so much more to cover, but I realize that the time is growing thin. We want to make sure we get questions and answers. Tomorrow, I'm going to be delving in deeper on where our favorite deals are coming from, how you can get some super quality leads for free. Type in the chat, free. All right, we like free. And then we're going to take some questions and answers. I'm going to show you how to get super quality leads tomorrow for free. I'm going to be giving you the opportunity here in upcoming days to hear a whole bunch more deal examples, continue deal structuring. And before this is over, we're going to be delving into team building, how Leo and I run a sniper-like team and have an automated system that runs the majority of our business. So we have a bunch more stuff to come up. We're super excited to share it with you. But questions and answers. Leo, back to you before we delve into Q&A.
You covered a lot. I'm just listening. I'm just enjoying it. Yeah, people don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask all the questions you can. in the chat. That's what it's here for. So we can explain, we can go in depth. Sometimes it takes 16 times. That's why we're very repetitive with how we teach sometimes. It's because we know it takes 16 times plus to be able to really drill it into our brains. And the action takers, they hear it once and they're like, okay, I'm just gonna try it. And then they learn it for themselves. For the thinker brains, it's about 17.
Then I want to
But the
interrupt you,
dog is
Leo.
okay.
Everybody in the chat, give Leo, my amazing business partner, a virtual hand. Type it in the chat. Shows up every day, bringing this fire and this energy,
Thank you.
and it's amazing. So you make it fun and keep the energy high, brother. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Our first question today comes from Emily Malish. And she says, what are some good starting markets for beginners?
Good starting markets. So I'm going to give you a criteria, and then I'm going to name some. Number one, I like mid-tier markets. So like 100,000, 50 to 150,000 person markets, where the mid-price range is preferably 150 to 300,000. That's number one. So mid-tier markets or outskirt markets. So you take a metro like Louisville, that's like a million plus surrounding, go find an outskirt market nearby, but that is smaller, not right in the big city. All right. So for example, I like Bowling Green, Kentucky. I like Elizabethtown, Kentucky. I like there's a little town in Ohio that escapes me. I like Evansville, Indiana. I like Mount Vernon, Indiana is a little too small, but it's close enough to Evansville that it's okay. I like all of these smaller markets. I just mentioned those because those are the ones near me that I'm fairly familiar with. Hopefully that helps. If you have more questions, Emily, hit me up. Be happy to give you more detail.
All right. And we'll see you at the event coming up here in August, Emily. All right. Well, next question is from Lawrence Crenshaw. He says, what are your top 3 lead sources?
Who asked that?
That is from Lawrence.
Lawrence. Awesome, Lawrence. So my top 3 lead sources, that changes every few months. So that's why we have our communities who continue to hang with us for years at a time, because it changes every few months. Right now, for us, pay per lead marketing is by far our number one. Bandit signs are our number 2, if we did them. I'm not saying we do or don't, just in case the sign police are listening. What's next?
All right, next question here comes from Tim, and he says, what is the difference between the ReLU program that you did in San Diego and Florida and the Truca program that you were doing in Louisville, Kentucky in August?
Go ahead, Leo.
Yep. So every event, the reason we spend so much time between each one is because that 6 months to a year is me and Andrew almost every day meeting and seeing what do our people need, where are they in their business, where are they in their lives. Okay, we have multiple people doing multiple deals. We have some people who haven't done a deal. How do we make sure that at this event that it is the absolute change for them, that when they do come, number one, they meet every single person at the event. So our first one we had 30, our next one we had about 40, our next one we had around 40 again. This one we'll have around 80 to 100. And the beautiful part is that we make sure everybody meets and everybody has a chance to connect. And that's the difference between the Truca, is that we spent a whole nother year really developing our curriculum, really being able to mash down our 10 years to 2.5 days. And then you walk home with so much. You walk home with a new workbook that allows you to start doing deals immediately that day. And we have multiple people that start doing deals after they come to the event. And then the Truca mindset, finally, we were able to really take in the mindset that me and Andrew have, all of our students have, and the multiple investors and people and successful people that we work with have. The Truca mindset, which is the art of living holistically, which is seeing your life as a whole. That mindset is something we teach at the Truca event. And then that's why people start to lose weight. That's why, David, as you can see in his testimonial, he lost 45 pounds and he started doing more checks. That's what we want to see. So you're hanging out with the crew, you're hanging out with the community. So yeah, those of you who got your tickets, we'll see you there. But then we also, those of you who did not get your tickets yet, you can still use the code 60day and still get the $98 off.
So
How long
yesterday
does that
you
run
got
for?
198 off. From now on, for any of those of you who are still looking to invest, it'll be 98 off. So it went up $100. And Still massive value.
Yes, but just for clarity, it's without the one-on-one.
Absolutely.
So if you want to get those tickets, Paul's going to put it in the chat. So you can use code 60day and still get 98 off. And those of you who got tickets yesterday, awesome. Well, I'll do a one-on-one 30-minute strategy session with you and we'll crush.
Excited to talk to you guys each. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, cool. Next question.
All right, next question is, what's the best way to find your niche?
Ooh, this is a good one. I'm going to say ask yourself these three things. Number one, what do I want? Number two, what do I enjoy doing? Number three, what am I good at? Now, Leo draws out a whole map, and we could do a whole seminar on this. In fact, we cover a large segment on this at the 3-day event, the Truca event. But for the short sake, ask yourself what you enjoy, what takes you to where you want to go, and what you're good at. Match them together as much as possible. People, we have to have people. We need people around us, and your whole world will change when you have the right people around you. When it's the wrong people, which some of you have experienced, and I've experienced in the past, your whole life begins to suck and your business goes down. And so sometimes because we've had those wrong people around us, we can tend to draw back to getting people around us that we need because we have that little bit of knee-jerk reaction or fear from the past experience. So when you find the right people around you and accent each other's talents, that all changes. So that's what you need to ask yourself.
All right, next question here is, you said to say to the seller, do you need the cash for something specific, and can you fill in the rest? And I believe that is, are you just trying to have, see if I have skin in the game? Is that right, Andrew?
So that's the answer for the down payment. Yes. When it comes to them wanting all cash for the property, then I say, are you wanting it for something specific? Or if you could get more by selling this over time, would you be willing to entertain that possibility?
Okay, next question here is, any issues with DSCR loan with subject to? After all, DSCR are investor friendly, so we can just call and notify the lender in this case, question mark?
I don't call and notify the lender. I've took over commercial loans. I've took over VA loans. I've took over FHA loans. I've took over traditional loans. Just buy the darn house, close with the real estate attorney, and start covering the payments. That's how I've always done it. And ask your local real estate attorney. Always close with attorneys. I'm telling you, you got to close with attorneys. If you don't close with attorneys, you're setting yourself up for failure. So close with attorneys and you'll make sure it's always done right.
All right, last question today comes from Jerry. He said, how do we take the emotion out of doing these deals so that we don't get so bummed when they don't work out?
That's an awesome question. So I think it comes to the worst we need something in the beginning. Sometimes the challenge, emotional challenge can be like, it's going to be 50 grand. And then when it's not, it's very disheartening. When you can look at things in the scope of even just 90 days, but in the scope of a year, everything seems smaller. And I know that at the end of the year, if I put in my consistent calls, for example, I'm going to do 12 deals, 24 deals, 30. It doesn't matter your number, but you go, okay, if every single week I'm calling the amount of sellers I committed to and I'm making constant smart adjustments, then I think it's very important to just look at that as the success and then ask yourself, if I haven't got a deal yet, what can I change? So look at things in consistent growth and constant improvement, not in, oh crap, today's amazing because I contracted a deal, and oh crap, the next 4 days suck because I didn't contract a deal.
Yeah. Also stay neutral with everything. So when a deal does close, don't get too high on it. Try your best not to get high on it. Take yourself out to dinner. But stay here. If you stay steady the whole time, when it's low, you're going to stay here. When it's high, you're going to stay here. That's how we've been able to kind of detach ourselves from money in general. But it just so happens to come a lot more when you detach yourself.
Remember, this business is here to serve you. So we're going to be talking about automation, more ways to find deals. This is a business set here to serve you and your mission and your purpose, not the other way around. We don't want you to become a servant to the business. We want the business to serve you to your purpose. All right. Amazing, amazing day coming up tomorrow. Great time being with you. As always, bye for now.
Peace. Make sure to get your tickets in the chat, live.truca.com with code 60day.